Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of News in Motion. Today is Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. It is the last day of January. We are already through the first month of the year. Time is not stopping, time is flying by. But we are here with another edition of News in Motion. Today, we have our Wednesday workshop and wisdom. And we have a special guest with us today, one of our very own viewers. She's always tuning in through Facebook. I know her quite well. It's my mother, Miss Latrice Jones, who will be joining us as our guest today. Of course, we will have Miss Gail Dudley giving our headline news as well. But if you're new here to News in Motion is a news media outlet with relevant commentary and call to action. We can be found on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or any audio or podcast platform services. Speaking of our YouTube viewers, good morning to Miss Marianne Jackson, Miss Regina Shorts, and Miss Adrian and Miss Kim Emerson tuning in through YouTube. Happy hump day to you all. Happy hump day to you. And good morning to you, Miss Jackie, as well. If you are ready for our Wednesday workshop and wisdom, be sure to grab your pen and paper, to invite a friend, let them know that you're tuning into News in Motion. And we'll be right back after this brief intro.
News in Motion.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I see you, Kim Edmondson, talking about, I'm looking forward to Wednesday workshop. Hello. Adrian, yes, I still love the music as well. Deborah Johnson, good morning to you. We have a lot to cover because I want to dig in. I see you, Dr. Antoinette. Good morning, girl. I actually think I'm going to change the name to today and call it just Wow Wednesday or Wednesday Wow, because we got some wow that's coming to you today. I see my brother coming in here as well. Good morning to you. All right, y'all, this is new in their playbook. I'm jumping right in. I don't even have time. You know what? Let me pause just for station identification. Isaiah, pop up that new banner, y'all. We got some new signature vote information right there. Bam! Y'all know that looks good. We have the black on black sweatshirt. We have the black on blue, which I ordered one of those. I can't wait to get it. And that little half zip there for the men with the vote over there on the side. Y'all, that's Adidas. Can y'all believe it? That is Adidas. We have the opportunity to put vote on that. You can only get it in the website, and women, we can wear it too. But let's go ahead and start getting our vote gear on. You can go to gaildudley.com/shop to get that. Thank you, Isaiah. So with this, y'all, we have a new playbook. Y'all, the MAGA Republicans, as they like to call themselves, they have a new conspiracy. It's absolutely hilarious to me. It's Taylor Swift. It's Taylor Swift, the Super Bowl, and President Biden. All right, so Taylor Swift and President Biden and Vice President here, they have teamed up. And she's out there stumping, just like no difference than when the Republicans get people to stump for them and have their surrogates. All right, y'all, so they believe that Taylor Swift, and the reason that the Kansas City Chiefs is going to the Super Bowl is so they can throw the election to Biden and Harris. Y'all, this is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious to me. Dr. Angela said, love it. Oh, you love the, isn't the signature vote where the bomb, it's the bomb.com. What's up, Donita? What's up, Yvonne? Yeah, so HuffPost reports. Yeah, Dr. Annette, they put work into that one. Yeah, it's a conspiracy involving the deepest of deep states. Okay, y'all, the world's most popular entertainer, this is coming from HuffPost, Taylor Swift, America's most popular sporting event, the Super Bowl, and President Joe Biden, its goal, according to MAGA Republicans, is to covertly compel fans to throw the 2024 election to the Democrats. First of all, how is that even possible? I'm really can't even connect the dots here. Now, its goal, according to the theory circulating on the outskirts of MAGA world, as they call it here in HuffPost, it is to really get the fans to tell everybody to vote for Joe Biden. I don't get it. What's up, Pastor Alex? I don't get it. So, yeah, the right wings has speculated that they had this fever speech. And if you are on Fox News, because I went to go see, and they're all talking about it. Like, and they're hoping that Usher doesn't let Taylor Swift sing anything, and they're going to listen to code language. They're going to listen when media zooms in on her to see if she's doing any type of code language. I'm like, are y'all serious? Like, this is delusional. It's not just a conspiracy, y'all. This is delusional. So the New York Times ran a piece noting that President Joe Biden re-election campaign is hoping for Swift's endorsement. They already got it. Again, no different than what anybody else receives. So this is, I'm like, what happened? Here's a quote. It says, this will be a tsunami that will be very difficult to thwart. This is Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. Now, this is a very conservative organization. Said that a group of young conservatives at the conference Monday night of the possibility of Swift and her massive army of supporters wading into the election. And they said, we better be prepared. It seems as though things are going to align for Taylor Swift. It's like, she's not running for office, but hold on. Here's the truth, because I went digging. Yvonne, you know me by now. I'm pretty nosy. I went digging. Y'all, back in September, Taylor Swift made a post on her Instagram and TikTok, and and also a story. Now, she sent this to her 272 million followers. So, y'all, Donald Trump kind of came after Taylor Swift yesterday. Y'all, this is straight up gossip, but believe it or not, it's news, okay? It's like news, and it's real because there's a real conspiracy, and this is really happening. And he's mad. He has 27 million followers. She has 200, and at this point, 279 million. She has more than him, and he's mad about it. And he said something about it on Truth Social. It's like, dude, grow up, please. So, y'all, she sent this to the nonpartisan voter registration website, which is vote.org. We share it here on News in Motion. And she says in her quote, I've been so lucky to see many of you guys at my U.S. shows recently. I've heard you raise your voices, and I know how powerful they are. This is what she wrote on her Instagram story and her TikTok. She says, make sure you're ready to use them in our election this year. And then she gave the link vote.org. Within 30 minutes, 35,252 new young voters registered. So Andrea Holly, the CEO of Vote.org, called it a highly encouraging sign of voter enthusiasm. Again, nonpartisan. They just registered. They didn't register for Democrat or Republican, but that many registered. Well, it went over so well that it started jumping 1,226% every hour. And they said it's been like that up to about late October, and then it has started again when they see her at the games. And by the end of each game, there's another 13,000 who have registered to vote. I think it's all good. But y'all, they have a conspiracy, and they want to call it out, and they want to shut it down. Speaking of voting, yes, Kim Edmonds and Pelly. Speaking of voting, I want to also talk about an Arizona state senator who posed as a fake elector for Donald Trump at the 2020 and was also photographed on Capitol grounds on January the 6th. Has found this legislative bill. I got it, y'all. I got it. And it's real short. This is real short. It's really just a paragraph. His name is Senator Kern. And this is Bill 1014, and he is filing this to give Arizona politicians to decide all electoral college votes and have the power to overturn them if they don't like what happened. Y'all need to read this. That's like, what? So here it is. And I had to type it out better because their typing was small. It says, be it resolved by the state of Arizona, the House of Representatives concurring. He's the only person. He don't have any sponsors on this. That number one, the legislature shall remain in session during years in which a presidential election are held. And two, that the legislator and no other officials, now just the legislation, no other officials, shall appoint presidential electors in accordance with the United States Constitution. Now, get this, y'all. If enough legislators support the bill, and right now he has none, it could eventually appear on the ballot statewide, and voters can decide. And this could actually be voted upon this summer before the 2024 presidential election. Here's my question to all of you before I bring my girl on. Why are they trying so hard? Like, what's really going on? Why are they doing this? Now, understand, there's already talks about this bill becoming a bill in other states. They're waiting to see if this goes over. I'm like, listen, we got to get back to local voting. We need to make sure we vote people out like this so that when it comes to the states for local voting, the states can shoot this stuff down. It can shoot this stuff down without any shenanigans. Here in Ohio, I don't know if y'all know this, but here in Ohio, the two bills that passed in November, the legislative branch, they're trying to overturn the voice of the people. Now, we in January, almost, we knocking on February. They're still trying to find workarounds to do this, which means voting is one step, but beyond voting, we need to make sure we have the right people in office. Can somebody give me an amen on that? And let's just say, wow, Wednesday, wow, Wednesday. All right, it's so wow that I have Latrice Jones with me today. Latrice Jones is going to pop in here. Y'all, she's an educator. She's the bomb.com. You can bring Latrice on in here, Isaiah. She's the bomb.com, y'all. She is an advocate. She's an activist. She is I think she really just needs to run for office as well. Go ahead and get that law license and practice law, all the things. I believe that of my sister girl. What's up? Good morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning. I can't believe you said I need to run for office. I'm going to tell you right now, the way my mouth is set up, these lips are too flipped. No, ma'am. You know better.
Girl, I know we probably get put out. Can you imagine us both being in office? And we like, depending upon the district, we probably like be shooting eyes at each other sideways, rolling our eyes. They will be censoring us immediately. You two have been censored. Y'all cannot talk.
I totally agree. Make them again.
Kim Edmondson says, phenomenal woman. I see you, Judy, coming here. So I want to jump in. Last week's town hall meeting, I started talking about pay for students to attend school and what they're trying to do and this, that, and the other, just all the shenanigans and all the things that are going on. So I want to jump in with the time that we have because I know you are a working woman and you got to get to your place.
Oh, child.
So let's start with student attendance. And we're not just talking Ohio, y'all. We're talking all over the United States of America. I want to jump off with this question. What strategies or initiatives should school districts have in place to improve student attendance rates? Like strategies, initiatives. What should we be doing here? Because apparently there is a problem.
There's definitely a problem. This to me is a slippery slope because when you start having incentives and incentives specifically, then you know students will get used to that. So incentives, yeah, strategies definitely. So with the strategies, you need to look at why are students being absent. We know that in the last few years there's been a housing crisis. So there's a lot of students nationwide that are transient, that are in transition. Their families are considered homeless. And so we really need to start looking at the reasons behind why students are being absent, and go into the strategies that way. So when you do that, you want to work with your local housing agencies. You want to make sure that you are reaching out to them. We have a few family shelters in Columbus. I'm sure that other states have them as well. And so and a lot of places will have a school or staff person in that location, in that family shelter, to kind of work with the families and make sure that they get there. So you got to be strategic. You got to work with all of the folks that are involved, your family shelters, your juvenile, your court systems, because if you're missing school, you could become truant, and then now that's an issue for the parents. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of avenues and tentacles to this. It's not just the kids aren't coming to school. So
okay, so you don't already my question. Really off the question is what I love
on the face like, ooh, I'm gonna get that. Oh, I know you.
You know me. And all of you, please share this. This is serious. Even if you do not have children in school, this still affects you because of your tax dollars. Okay, y'all gotta start. We gotta start thinking like everybody else is thinking.
Got nieces and nephews.
Nieces and nephews, cousins, first, second, third, and fourth cousins, and married to them step, whatever that is. Whatever. So let me go back to this, Latrice, and thank you for bringing this up. But when we talk about truancy, or we're talking about transient, or we're talking about family shelters, are there advocates to serve in these roles, and are there availability or possibilities for those of us who may have a passion in that area to align, to partner, to collaborate, to help with some of this, to help navigate some of this? And don't give me just a yes or no. Build on that, and I know you will.
So I know I'm not sure exactly what the family shelters, what that role looks like there. I'm pretty sure it's probably a case manager, because all family shelters will have a case manager to work with the families that are there to see, to get them transitioned out into permanent housing. So it could be their case manager. It could be someone who is specific in the role of working with school personnel. Here, a lot of schools have taken a person who actually works for the school district, and they have them located in that's where they go. They work there, and they work with the staff. You could also, if that's a passion that you have, you could seek out your judicial system. They have court-appointed special advocates. Those are called CASA. I think CASA has, you might be able to search CASA.org, but I know they work in Franklin County because I used to work with them. But
I actually did some work with them as a consultant. They're all over.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
And so a court-appointed special advocate is a great way to get involved if you have a passion for something like that, to even help the parents that might be getting brought in, because parents get brought in for truancy. If your kid's not going to school, it's a thing. You're going to be responsible. They're not bringing in the kids; they're bringing in the parent.
Yeah. So let's go. I know I sent this to you, Yvonne. We on it today, girl. We on it today. Listen. So when we see a bill like this is House Bill 345, and this is in Ohio. Again, y'all hear me. When a bill starts one place, it will trickle to other states. I promise you, it's setting a precedent, and this is what's happening. So we have this bill, and now there's 21 co-sponsors. That number is growing. And the bill says to establish pilot programs to increase student attendance and graduation rates through financial awards and incentives to make an appropriation. Then they go on talking about kindergarten. They talk about where they're going to pick a rural area, an urban area. But my question is, even when we're talking about family shelters, we're talking about a CASA, we're talking about all the things, all the people. How will they determine? To me, this seems like a dangerous bill. How will they determine who is to receive these funds? And if a person is in transient and then they get lost in the system, but they've done their work, are we not possibly crushing the child and their hopes? The other thing I want to share about this before we go on to other things, because I want to give you time to question, how they said that they will send the checks payable jointly to the student and the student's parent or guardian. So will the student ever get this? I mean, Girl, 7 y'all, and I'm gonna put this in the Friday rundown so y'all can look at it. But this whole bill is very concerning to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna pay you to go to school. Well, why don't we get to the issue? What's at the root issue of this? So go. Look, I'm turning it over to you. Go.
So anytime they have bills like this, it's always going to be a pilot. They're not going to implement it, everywhere. So they're going to start out with a few schools around the state. They'll pick them probably. And I was looking through the bill. They're going to have to apply. So a district will apply. Yeah. They will select a school. So there's probably some schools that the districts already know are, have chronic absenteeism, which is it's a federal thing. It's not just Ohio or
Ohio, right?
Federal chronic absenteeism everywhere. So the districts will apply. They'll choose their school. Okay, I'm gonna choose Main Street Elementary and Southside High School, and then they'll take 50% of them. So what you said about the parents getting it. So I don't know if y'all remember when it was during COVID. We got these little cards. Everybody got them. Praise the Lord. Everybody got them. If your child went to a public school, they sent these little cards that you could get food because the kids were home and they had to, because otherwise, they would have been feeding them if they were at school. Those little things came in the mailers that looked like junk mail. Half the people didn't get them because they threw them away. A lot of people didn't get them because why? They had moved. Or they lived somewhere else. So we're putting, and it was based on how many kids you had. So if you had, each kid had their own card. Isaiah's probably laughing because he wanted to use his cards, to buy stuff. I was like, sir, you're home eating up all my food. You need to buy food, like food that you eat, not candy. But these funds like this would be going to with the student's name on them. That's a recipe for disaster. That's a little bit concerning.
It's crazy. Well, even like I'm reading this too. And by the way, y'all, this goes into, y'all know I go all the way into these things. It goes into section 3202.03 of the revised code. So even when you go look at the revised code, it's like, okay, there's some loopholes in this that will immediately cancel people out. And I need y'all talking to me out here in the chat. Come on in the chat. Talk to us. And then the other thing that talks about transfers of $25 bi-weekly. So then it changes and then gives a lump sum. So these are the initiatives, and we can go on and on and on about these initiatives, but I got more questions. How does regular attendance contribute to students' academic success? So so we put this out there and we do this, then what?
So that was my question, because obviously this doesn't start till next year. My kid, Isaac's a senior this year. We ain't gonna get it. Lord knows he needs, so you incentivize those that aren't coming, but what about the students that have always been there, right?
Yeah.
So it's not really gonna be, I guess you could, but I would feel like I'm kind of conflicted. Like, do I need it or do I want to, if my kid's coming, I don't need the incentive, but I would feel some type of way, don't automatically say, oh, you don't need it. But obviously you have to be in school to learn. If you're not there, you can't learn. And so being in school, attendance is definitely important. We know, and we've seen from COVID, when we were out during the pandemic, that students that were, when we switched over to the virtual learning, it was a struggle for a lot. Yeah. And so you have to be in front of a person getting that not one-on-one, but face-to-face instruction. There's something about being able to ask a question. There's something about educators in a classroom seeing students and watching their interaction with other students. The social aspect is crucial. Seeing their interaction with other students and how they're, taking in the curriculum and what they're getting from it. And being able to, go over there and pivot and say, okay, Latrice is kind of struggling with this concept. Let's stay here a little bit. If the student's not there, they're not getting that.
Okay. Kim is saying, why would they put it in the child's name? I'll let you answer that. And I see you, Hester, in here as well. And then I have another question for you about parents. So she's talking about the $25, $500.
I think they have to. I'm making note of questions that I'm not for certain 100% because I don't want to say something and not be sure. But I believe, and I'm going to find out, and I'll come back and give the positive for sure. I believe the reason that they will put it in the child's name is because it has to do with the enrollment, and so the parent's not enrolled in the school district.
Okay.
So they have to. I think that's why they have to put the child's name on it or in the child's name. But I'm gonna find out for sure. And I'll let you know with certainty on that one.
And another question I have, and I did not see it in the bill at all. But the other question I have, what about homeschool? Like, how are they going to keep attendance for homeschool? And are they going to be a part of this program or not? So I want to move to the role. What roles? Now, I hope you are taking notes here. Again, whether you have children in school or not, this pertains to you. And wait a minute, talking about attendance real quick. When I see students on my street out, I'm like, y'all don't have school today. I mean, it's like a given to ask. And they're like, oh, no, Mrs. Dudley, we got a teacher, whatever. Okay, because I'm trying to figure out why y'all on the street this early. But what role can parents play in promoting and supporting regular student attendance? As a parent or as a guardian or as a community activist, what role do we play or can we play?
As a parent, I think you definitely need to have schedules for students, making sure that, you are getting your students up, making sure that students come to leave your home if you have, and this is why I said there's so many layers to this, making sure that they have breakfast before they leave. Because even though most schools have breakfast when they get to school, it's just not the best sometimes. So you want to make sure that they have a breakfast, something to eat when they go. But you want to set some schedules. You want to be a part of your school, your child's school. Find out what kind of incentives or programs they have around attendance.
Okay.
If they have, we have a whole department that is over this because, like I said, it's chronic. But if they have those, get involved, find out what you can do to volunteer, to support the programming. If they have incentive programs or interventions that they recommend, a lot of times they have social workers, they have resources.
Yeah.
Well, there were some people that said, oh, I just can't get up. You know what we could do and what we did? They have funds. They buy them a, what you call them things? Alarm clock. Most people have them on their phones, but
right.
Help them give little reasonable, sensible strategies. Like, we're going to set your phone. We're going to set an alarm on your phone for you to get up.
So why can't we see? I want to get to board meetings, which I have to. And the clock is moving, but I have to ask this question, and I'm starting with me. Okay. What's up, Mike Nicholson? We've been missing you with your cutie girl daughter. But listen, what about, how do I ask this question? I'm old, y'all. I'm 58 years old. I'm not old, but I'm 58 years old. I had a love for school. I had a love for learning. So should the incentive be you're going to learn today? And I know they're trying to take, in some states like Florida, they've been successful banning books. Well, what about a book club? Why aren't we forming things again, whether it's inside the school or outside the school, so that we can continue? I had a love for learning. So how do we spark that back so that we're loving? Like, I love, as crazy as it makes, I love reading these bills. I love asking questions, picking them apart, having critical thinking. I love having some historic knowledge so that I can come back and put all the pieces together and connect all the dots. Why can't I just come to school because I love it? Okay.
So I think I think that if we're going to be real talk, especially where we are, when you were going to school, and I think even when I was going to school, the schools looked a little different. When I went to school here in Columbus, I with the exception of maybe one of the buildings, they're still standing. Okay, so if my children are going to the same schools that I went to and nothing has changed, it doesn't look, it's not renovated. I don't want to go into that building. Like, it's got to be aesthetically pleasing to me, for one thing. We're visual, okay? I got to want to go. And I saw what Lori put up there. So I want to go. I do want to definitely talk about that. But I need to want to go to school. So it's got to be aesthetically pleasing. It's got to be interesting to me. I want the people that are there when I get there to be welcoming to me. I love educators. I love education.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't in it because they love kids and they love teaching. It's some people there just for a check. And if I'm walking in a building and your face is tore up, I have an issue with that. I can go back home and be in my bed playing PlayStation or something. I could be somewhere where I know I'm loved, petting my dog or whatever. I ain't got to deal with this.
And you're so right about that. You're right about that. You know, I've done some things over the summer for a particular school system, and I will never forget how some of the teachers were responding to the students. And I'm like, whoa, then this shouldn't. And you know, I called you and said, excuse me. Because there is, and I can remember my teachers loving, like, authentically, they were excited, they were welcoming, they were really encouraging, like, you can do this, take your time, sound the letters out, speak through this, all of that. And I do think that's missing. Y'all see we're going somewhere. Heather, and I saw your email, and I'll get back to you. She says, go to work daily, teach by showing, give them a routine.
Absolutely.
Hester saying, I agree, a book club for students. Mike Nicholson is saying, we ain't had social media.
That has definitely made a difference.
That's made a difference, but how can we not incorporate it into the everyday learning to where students are excited?
You've got to be open to, just like at church, the message ain't changed, but the method has. You've got to be open to incorporating social media and all these other things to make it work. There is, his name is Christopher Emden, and he's the one. Oh, there's a book. It's called, oh gosh, I need the exact name of it, but it's something about how to teach in the hood, or something for white people, how to teach in the hood. The title of the book is so crazy, you will definitely stop and be like, what? Well, but he comes at academia in a way that's so in your face, for one, but he brings into all these other things that are going to reach the students.
Yeah.
I mean, even to the point where we have this whole group of students and persons that, you know, we didn't have no pronouns when we was in school, but that's a real thing. You got to deal with pronouns. You got to deal with how they identify. And if you are not transforming in that way, you're losing. You're losing. So Lori said something about
Don't go to Lori yet. Hold that thought, Lori. I'm going to grab some of these. Hester says the love of learning must be instilled in the child, and it starts at home. Yes, I too love school. We had teachers. That's what you're talking about there. Talk about it. We are. Kim Edmondson says, right, Latrice, I just passed my elementary school and it looks exactly the same from 50 years ago. They want those buildings changed. Deborah says we have to give incentives to teachers. Okay, we can talk about that. MK, critical thinking has been lost to I'll give you the answer. Whoa. And I think that can be a lazy side too. I'm too lazy to think through this or to do the problems or to do whatever. And I'm using that word, and maybe lazy isn't right.
Lazy. So this is a strategy, because you know now there's a whole bunch of testing that it's not really, there's teaching and there's testing. So we have given the students the strategies to pass the test. So it used to be you actually read, you had to comprehend. Well, now they have this thing called TTQA, turn that question around. So you read the question and then you turn it around to get your answer. So, you know, where are you going today? And then basically the answer is, today I am going so-and-so. Now, what did you really teach?
Nothing. It was easy. And I'm using the word lazy, but it puts us in a place where we don't have to put any effort to it. Maybe I'll say it that way. Deborah's saying we need to take some time to find out why the system is broken. All right.
Meetings.
What'd you say? School board. We'll get to in a minute. Kim Edmondson says, I went to school and could hear the teacher yelling from my third floor.
Okay.
Mike Nicholson, stressful position plus lots of disrespectful kids who are not disciplined at home. That's a whole different thing. And we can talk about that another time as well. But I think that's important because we got to get to the root of this. Yeah. Deborah talks about her mom was involved. My parents were involved. Listen, my parents were up at that school. If there was, whether I did something or they did something, or they perceived they did something, the parent was there. Like, what's up?
So this is where Lori, I know you said Lori, and Lori talked about being in the classroom. We have such a strong union that back in the day, that may not have been an issue, but now you can't just pop up and go into a classroom. They have a contract where you cannot just show up and go into a classroom. You got to schedule time. They got to know when you're coming. You can't record. There are rules of engagement here that have set us up to where this whole being a part of the education system is not really massaged and encouraged and promoted anymore like it was back in the day.
And to me, that's they put framework in place to stop the dialogue so that their narrative overrides the other narrative. And now, yes, I get it that some people are off the chain buck wild, but if you know I'm coming, you're going to be dressed well. You're going to have your script written out. You're going to have everything together. Because trust me, I used to go up into school. I had a 3-ring binder notebook. My child's name on the front, every section in sections. I would flip that. Now here you said this happened. So where did this change? And once they knew I had a notebook, they ain't giving me no shenanigans anymore. They knew I came correct. It's like I'm involved in my student. I'm involved.
Here's the thing about that, and I'm willing to say, based off of you and I, based off of the News in Motion family, the majority of the parents, the grandparents, even, because there was times when we couldn't go, that we would send up one of the grandparents for our kids. They had open. The majority of parents and guardians and family members and community are not those crazy ones. The majority. So there's really no need to have this barrier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Heather, so good to see you, y'all. That's one of our new viewers. She said, school was hell for me. I love learning, but the peers made it a nightmare and the staff were no help. Can you touch on that? Because it seems like there's a hands-off approach because you cannot discipline children in the classroom. Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, discipline is definitely a hot topic. And not just the discipline, like she said, her peers. It wasn't just the staff. So you have your peers that are, acting one way, and then you have the staff that are kind of like, oh, I'm not gonna, because you put your hands on a student the wrong way, and now you got somebody wanting to press charges on you, or you have a FCCS case or what have you. So there's rules of engagement to discipline as well. And there are laws that says that you can't do certain things. So I have to get the actual House bill. It's been in place for some time that says kindergarten through 3rd grade students cannot be suspended unless it is considered a volatile act, which is like, something that's going to harm you or them. I mean, like bringing a weapon. So if somebody's being consistently insubordinate, disrupting the class, you don't want them suspended. But what happens when you've done all the things and they're continuing to disrupt the educational process for everyone else? And you're not getting any support from anyone outside of the school. So
it's tough. Davia, yes, I still have relationships with one of my elementary school teachers. They loved us and invested in us as people. Let me say this. I have attended my past teachers' funerals, weddings, their children's it's just been crazy. But so I understand that there was a relationship. Like seriously.
You remember the ones that made a difference in your life. You could call their names. You remember the good ones and you remember the not so good.
That's true. Lori, students don't have the patience, and she says that's true. I get background checks. Let's see. Kim says we've taken the power out of the teacher's hands. Mike Nicholson says these parents not involved in their kids' school today. Davia also says, however, we had respect for adults. Yeah, we couldn't play. Listen, if an adult contacted my parents and said I was disrespectful, woo, Lord Jesus. And then she said she doesn't miss any of Moses. So I want to jump to here. Y'all, this is so good. Oh my God, this is so good. And we only have like 3 minutes. So I want to jump to school boards. I want to start with this question, Latrice. Y'all, and we have to, whether you have children in school, grandchildren, niece, nephews, third cousin removed, whomever, if you pay taxes, if you live in a community, you should be somewhere connected because all these things connect. Why is it important for parents, guardians, communities to attend school board meetings?
I think it's important, one, for you to see the structure of the school board. Me and some of my teammates were talking the other day, and we were talking about when doctors do something and they get in trouble or there's a concern, where do they go? They have a board. And who's on the board? Other doctors. When attorneys do something and they get in trouble, there's concern, there's misconduct, whatever it is, they have a board. Who's on that board? Other attorneys. Right. Who's on the board for the schools? It ain't a bunch of other teachers. So you need to see the structure of who is making decisions, who is governing the decisions and things that are happening in the district. Who's on that board? First of all, what do they do? Just pull out the W's. Who's on the board? What do they do? When do they meet? Where do they meet? What time do they meet? Why are they meeting? Just take the W's first of all. Then when you get to the why, those are the agendas. You can look at the agendas for the meetings. Most of the time they're not released in advance, but just go back and look at some of the past ones. And then if you have questions, start digging into those things. Like, okay, y'all appropriated this much money for this. Why? Because those are the dollars that are my tax dollars.
Right. Okay.
What was the return on investment from this appropriation of the budget? If you spent $3 million on this program, this reading program, or this reading curriculum, what was the result?
Yeah.
Did the reading levels go up? You can, and anybody can request, you can do a data request. Get the information. Data don't lie.
Right.
Don't lie.
So you open up another thing, and there's a question I have, I'm changing a little bit. How are decisions made at school board meetings, and how do they impact the students, the parents, and the community?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So
yeah, I kind of added to it. So
a lot of times the things that are on, and there are, so there are decisions about facilities, that everything's broken down. You have your human resources decisions, you have your facilities decisions, you have your curriculum, academic is broken down. So a lot of times the board will vote on things that are already been out within the district, within the schools that are brought out. So it doesn't necessarily always start at the top and get pushed down. Some things start at the ground, at the school level, and work their way up. So that's why it's important to be involved in your school, knowing who the teachers are, knowing what the teachers need. A lot of teachers apply for grants to get supplies because they don't have they don't get all the things that they need for their classrooms. How can you, as a parent, support that? Do you know of grants that are available? Make those, you could get on the board agenda and present something. And it's not always coming to a board meeting or coming to a school district to get something. We really need folks being involved to give something.
Okay.
Really.
Wow. I want to keep going, but I know you got to go. I know you got to go to work. So we haven't even touched half of the questions I sent over to Latrice to go through. We only really hit 4 of the 17 questions. So
my business said I taught for a year. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Kids right now.
That's what Mike Nicholson said. That's what he said. So I want to go into our inspiration. First of all, this is great. I might just have to come back. Maybe can't if you can join me tomorrow, we can keep the town hall going. You want to come back tomorrow?
Let me check.
You gonna check, y'all. That means we're gonna keep going because seriously, I had 16 questions for her. We only covered 4.
Oh my God!
And there's so much more. And if you have questions you want to send me to continue the conversation, we can. And if you want to join the conversation where I can bring you on along with Latrice Jones, we can continue the conversation that way as well. But this is too important, especially in a general election year. You may think it's all about the presidential election. It is not. I started off with a bill that I shared with you. You good for tomorrow?
If I got a 9 o'clock, so.
Oh, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it work. So she's coming back. Who's coming back with her? Just send me a text message, inbox message, or email.
And a lot of the politics, you said things on this being election year, a lot of politics start at the school board.
They do. And that was a part. That's one of my what question is that? I think that's question number 6 or 7. So yes. So we want to continue this. So I'm gonna leave her on her while I do the inspirational message. And I'm going to put in a shameless plug as well. So y'all know I'm doing 12 days of inspiration. Yesterday, I believe, was day 3. Today is the day 4. And today I'm talking about writing. Inspiration. Write your thoughts out. Process some critical thinking. Sometimes that can turn into your journal entries can turn into blog posts. And those blog posts can also turn into a manuscript. And that manuscript could possibly turn into a book. The word says in Habakkuk, write the vision, make it plain. So let's start writing out our visions and making it plain. Y'all, writing is also, I think, a spot of healing. While attending seminary, I attended probably the best professor I had, Dr. Terry Wardle. And it was this whole healing care, soul care ministry. It was that bent of spiritual formation. And that's where I'm at. And that's where this whole inspirational thing is coming from. And I'll never forget when he was talking about you have to write it down. And there's healing in putting that pen to paper and writing it out. And then you're inviting God to come in to help you work through so much of what you're dealing with. So there should be a joy behind writing. There may be tears behind writing. But even with this, even in writing out questions for your legislator, writing out questions for lawmakers, writing out questions for the school board, for the teacher, for administrators, for your neighborhood association, whatever it is, start writing. I'm going to bring in Deborah sometime next week or the week after when she's available. And she has this movement of writing, DJ Write from the Heart. She has a movement of writing and she's trying to introduce and bring back writing. So even in talking about the schools, our students need to be writing again. Get off that electronic device and learn how to sign your name and write beautiful poetry or literature so that other people can have. But it starts from writing. And if you want some help with that, again, this is a shameless plug. If you want some help with that, join Manuscripts and Mimosas. Boom. Y'all, we have a live on this Friday at 11:30. It's 1 hour, and yes, they're recorded as well, but join the membership. That's the only way you're going to get the information. And this month, we're talking about book mapping, article mapping, freelance mapping, content writing mapping, and I'm the facilitator this week, and it is going to be live. And since we are in the election cycle, and since if you didn't come on till later, boom, there's our new merch. That's signature vote gear, and yeah, the guy over there with the vote off to the side, that is Adidas wear. Yes, and that vote signature thing is on there, so it's going to cost a little bit more than the others, but you can go to gaildudley.com to get it all. All right, Latrice, I am so grateful that you decided to join us today, and you'll be back tomorrow. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. It really is exciting. All right, y'all know what I say, everyone. Stay well. Send in your questions. I don't have to follow the ones I have here. Send them in. You can DM them or you can send them to my email, which is newsinmotionwithgail@gmail.com. Again, that's newsinmotionwithgail NewsInMotionWithGail@gmail.com, and get them in before noon so I can get all my script ready for tomorrow. And if anybody wants to join me, Mike Nicholson, you said you taught for a year. If that's the truth and you want to join us, jump on here with us tomorrow, or anyone else is welcome. And I will vet you. Just letting you know, I have to vet you. But until then, y'all, I'm Gail Dudley. That's Latrice Jones, and we are out.
News in motion.